Hi guys, welcome to this session on Microsoft Visio. What I'd like to do in this session is show you how to create a family tree using Microsoft Visio shapes, custom shapes, and how to add shape data into those custom shapes. So as you can see on the screen, I've created a very small part of my family tree, just going back to my great-grandparents. Now, I want to recreate this for you starting from scratch because I haven't used the normal stencil shapes that you would get with an organizational chart, and I'll tell you for why in a second. I've used a rectangle shape and then I've typed in that, and I've also added in the back of that some shape data. So if I just show you the shape data. So on each shape I've got some formatted shape data, just the name, date of birth and things like that. There is an issue with the date of birth field which I'll talk about shortly. So I just want to recreate this. Now, starting from scratch, if I just get myself a new stencil, let's get rid of that one. That one. So just give a new one, file new. And this time I don't want to use it from any other file, so I'll just get a blank piece of paper. I'm just going to put the grids on so I can see what I'm doing. I don't need the size and position on. So what normally happens is you would naturally go to these preset shapes and maybe bring a position on, or you might start at the top. If that's yourself, you're going to start at the top and then bring a position on, and it automatically snaps into place for you, which is quite easy. You can sort these out and then keep bringing positions on each of these. It comes out underneath. You can push these out side by side. You can see the lines are going all over the place at the minute, which you'd have to sort out. Now the issue I have with this is, on the shape data, this is a pre-formatted shape data, and the whole idea, and what you used to be able to do in older versions of Visio, is you could tailor this and add it to your stencil and it would remain there. But what seems to be happening in this version, which is slightly irritating, if I go into this and define shape data, and if I get rid of all these, so if I just delete these off and then just do some of my own, so I'll just do name, just show you a couple, call it name again, it's a string, do a new, and then date of birth, I'll have to leave that as a string as well, because the reason you need to leave it as a string is because there's a restriction on the dates. When you select date, if I click on date, it's okay as long as you don't go into the 1900s, which is probably pretty pointless for a family tree, so leave that as text. Now if I click OK, that shows you there's some data there, so I'll put my name, Steve Saxton, date of birth 21/08/57, and it should let me do that. So there's the old one. Where was I? There, that one. So this one, if I just break this link, is one that I've modified. So now if I go into my stencils that I've already created, so open my stencils, genealogy basic, and then move the one that I've edited into there and just drop it in, call it test, so I can delete it afterwards. So when I pull that back across, it's added all the default fields in again, which still got mine customized. So in the previous versions of Visio, that would have just left these, so that was a really useful thing to do. So now this is slightly irritating that it hasn't done that for me. So what I've done in this example to create the organizational chart is I haven't used these at all. I basically created a rectangle, drew a rectangle on the screen, and added some shape data to that. Simply went right click, data, define shape data, and then name, call it name, string, new, date of birth, new, death, and whatever fields you want, you can just add those. If I just click OK to that for now, name, date of birth, death, yeah, okay. Now I can type in there and it will remain in there, and I then can use this as a report and create a report in Excel and so on. So if I type my name on this one, I'll do it properly so my mum, just at the pointer, so my mother won't complain. So Stephen Saxton, and then I can put this date on here as well, born 1957. I haven't died yet, so I'll just create that like that. So there's your first shape. Now if I add this shape into my stencil now, even though it's got that stuff on there, I can call this level 1A because I've already got a level 1. And then when I drag that on the screen, it doesn't pick up any of the shape data information because there wasn't any for it to pick up. Now, it hasn't remembered what I had there because once it goes into the stencil, it's like a new shape. But I've already created, I'll just delete that one for a minute. So I've already created a level 1. So I've got 3 shapes together there. So what I've done on this one is added a little bit more information there, which I probably should tailor because the date of birth is going to have to be a text string. I think it's a date there. But what I did with these, I basically brought 3 shapes together. Just delete that one for a minute. Let's just see what I did. I did that, and then I worked out sort of how far away I want a shape, and just copied that, and then did it the other way. Now, Visio is quite cool for giving you the little guides. So that's me, and then I can double click on this, and that's to say my dad, so get rid of that. So that would be Kenneth, and he was not born then, he was born in 1935, and he died in 2011. My mother was Dorothy Greenwood, and she was born in 1935 as well. She's still alive. So rather than typing it out like that, before I typed all the information in, I actually grouped the shapes. So if I just delete that one for a second, so these are not lined up properly, so if I just push this into the middle a little bit so you can see what I did, and then position these shapes. Now what I haven't got on these shapes are connection points. So you need to put connecting points on there because there's no way this is going to connect up otherwise. So connecting points is these little things. So I'll click on that and I'll sit on the end and I hold my control key down and it'll let me position that, and you've got to be quite careful that you get it in the right place. I'll click a connector point on there, and then on one onto this side. Just click that on. That one didn't look like it went on. I'll just see if that's there. If I move this out of the way, it's probably sitting underneath. No, it's not there at all. So connector point, control key, that little cross, click. There it is. The control key, that little cross, click. And then I should now be able to connect these up. So I'll go from one to the other. That connects in there. Ignore that. And then I'll just go from the other one to connect into there. Like that. Put the pointer tool back on. I don't want that line on there. So line, arrows, just want a straightforward line. Same with that one. Line, arrows, no arrow, and then this line I don't want it like this either. So this is probably because of where this is sitting. So I'm not liking that. That's not connected. there's no connect. It hasn't picked up a connector tool on there, so I'll just put it on again. It's not. It's put it there, but it's not actually stuck to the box. Now it is. Pointer tool. So if I go pick this up onto the connector point, there we go. Then I can push this out. Can I? Still stuck to it. You've got to be quite. It is quite finicky that. Just pull that down a little bit. Now they're lined up, and then what I did was I just grouped these like that, and then they became a level 1. So if I click on group, and I pulled them into there, and you end up with that without any information on. So then I've done the same sort of thing with level 2. So if I just click off this, now I haven't typed any information in the shape data, which I should do, I will do. So I'll just put Ken Saxton in there. Date of birth is the 12th of October 1935, and his death was the 20th of April 2011. And then same for Dorothy Greenwood. So Dorothy Greenwood. Oops, don't happen there. Dorothy Greenwood. Date of birth was the 14th of the 10th, 1935. She's not dead. And then I was born on 21st of August 1957. Wrong place. Stephen Saxton, 21st of August 1957, and I'm not dead. So if I click on this, I should be able to move all these as a group, so I've grouped them. So they're one thing. Before I typed all of that information, I would pull it into this to create this level 1 block that I had already got. Now the shape data, I've added a bit extra shape data in this one. So I'll just delete this one off. Now then you have to create the next level. So level 2, I've already created level 2, would work the same way. Now I haven't got a connector point on this end, so I need to put a connector point on this end. So basically you should do this before you pull these into your own stencil, and then you won't have to worry about this. So now that should bang into that. It's not liking that, it's pulling out. So it's the connector points that are not sitting on there. Let's just try that again. I probably should have done this before. You see it's sitting over there before it's grouped. So it looks like it's on. Let's just try it again. They both look like they're on. Yeah, it's not, there's no connector tool on there. Anyhow, it doesn't matter for this. So put your connector tools on before you group them, and then you set this scene like this, and obviously you have to make them smaller and smaller. So level 3 would sit like that, and so on and so on. Now if I just delete this off and just try and do that with the one I did earlier, so it's the same size. So I'll just bring that down. Now you can see straight away the problem you're going to have here with these boxes being this size is because you are going to get everything banging in together. So you need to work out what the best size of these boxes are and the information that you can display. So maybe you want it just that sort of information and don't have any, just have so who's this going to be? This is going to be John Saxton. Just have the name in there, because you can put all the other details in the shape data. So John Saxton, and then it would be Agnes Megan, like so. So that's where you put Agnes. In fact, that's the grandparents. I can't even remember my own family tree. It doesn't matter. But that's where you put their date of birth. So you would put Agnes Megan, and that's his grandmother. So I'll put her birth was 1864, and then she is actually dead. John Saxton, 1862, and so on. And then you do your little connection points on these, both ends. I can't remember if I actually did connection points on this or not. If I quick look, no. So I needed to put connection points on this end so I can see where these are going to join. Didn't think I got that on there. No, I did. So all this should get done before you put them onto your stencil. So you've got like a connection point. I know this is a bit of a longer way around of doing it, guys, but the frustration is editing the shape data, because the fact that it's remembering the default shape data is the issue. In previous versions it didn't remember that. Once you deleted it, that was it. It just put it into your stencil, then you could pull it on and then it would remember it. So if yours works fine, that's great. You don't have to do this. You can use the preset format shapes, these ones, and just play around with the lines to get them to fit properly. Otherwise you're doing this. Now the shape reports feature will not pick up these additional fields. So if I create a new report, all shapes on this page here. Now these are the fields, so I only want these 3 fields, and then go next, call it Steve, and then next, call it Steve again, and then finish. And I'm going to run that, and it'll ask me if I want to do it in Excel or these other options, and then I'm going to click OK to that, and should drop it into Excel. There won't be much information on it, but you should see the idea. There you go. So all that data you're going to have into an Excel file. Now that's all I want to cover on this little bit. I'm actually doing my family tree at the moment, and I've gone back to 1695, so I'm quite excited by that. But I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you on the next video. Thank you for your time. Don't forget to subscribe.